To me, the writer's block is more writer's evasion or writer's procrastination. If I get myself in a chair, I can always think of a story. It just comes. This is the opening of Dark Winter, which is one of the Cuddy Mangum novels. So I know the voice. I've heard Cuddy before, but to capture exactly what that voice says is crucial to me. Here's the first sentence. This is about the summer when everything changed. Now, I thought a lot and then have removed the word when. This is the summer everything changed. That doesn't seem like much of a difference, but it's every difference. Like Mark Twain said, the difference between one word and another word is the difference between lightning and a lightning bug. So you're looking for the lightning when you write. After so many years, decades away, I was writing television, I was in New York, Maureen was teaching at University of Pennsylvania. I had met Eudora Welty, whose work I hugely admired. I told her I'm having trouble, and I've written 3 novels. Novel 1's California, Novel 2's Colorado, Novel 3's Connecticut. And she said, honey, you're just sneaking up on Carolina. You go home and let your fiction grow out of that land beneath your feet. It was an astonishing moment in my life. I started Uncivil season. The moment I wrote that first sentence, 2 things don't happen very often in Hillsborough, North Carolina. We don't get much snow, and we hardly ever murder one another. That voice, that we, was different. I was always putting these outsiders in the first novels, the person from the South who was living in Connecticut. But then I was in that red clay, that landscape of my imagination. I think those experiences are set fairly early. Willa Cather, she lived in Red Cloud, Nebraska from age 9 to age 15. But that's the landscape of her imagination. That's what she sees. Joyce had long since gotten out of Dublin, but you read Ulysses and you are on the streets and in the pubs. And for me, the red clay of North Carolina, the towns, the sound, that is key. And when we came back here and we were looking for a place to live, we came to Hillsborough. First of all, Maureen's wandering around saying, oh my God, it's like being inside your fiction. I'm living in a house in which there were slaves who moved away with emancipation. I am living in the presence of the history that is so important to any writer from the South. When I came here, I just sat down in a chair and started to write as fast as I could. I am just passionate about silence because the way I write is to sit there and essentially say, talk to me. I'm listening so hard. And I think that's really coming out of my personal experience. My mother was deaf, and I was her ears in a way, listen for me. And I really think there's a relation between that and my being a writer. Who is the voice? Who's going to tell this story? I always say you don't have to be a whale to write Moby Dick. You know, that person may be very different from you, but you have to hear. Through a meadow where in summer wildflowers grew. Toward the bottom, the slope plunged steeply through the knolls and gullies left by century-old earthen terraces, falling to the edge of the dark woods that guarded heaven's hill. The physical landscape defined this place that we live in became a fictional place to me. The Courthouse in Hillsborough showed up in Red Clay, a short story of mine. Up on its short slope, the columned front of our courthouse was waxy in the August sun, like a courthouse in Lakewater. The leaves hung from maples and the flag of North Carolina wilted flat against its metal pole. Heat sat sodden over the county week by relentless week. They called the weather dog days after the star Sirius, but none of us knew that. The mill's so much a part of the change from the Old South to the New South that is a part of the story, particularly of Time's Witness. The factory whistles kept crying over Hillston, grieving for the old industrialist who built them. Decade after decade, they'd summon the town each morning to come weave for him. Told it at noon to eat lunch. Sent it home each evening to rest. Now they wailed that Briggs Cadmian was dead, wailed loudest here in East Hillston where the factories loomed. Writing is a lonely business. Takes isolation. And so it's wonderful to have other people that are doing that. These are all my neighbors in Hillsborough and all my wonderful friends. Alan Gerganis, Jill McCorkle, Lee Smith, Craig Nova, all these people living right here in Hillsborough. I do find that this group of world-class writers are wonderfully harmonious.
The beauty of having a porch like this is I can work on the porch and I can either speak to people or not. They don't really see you because you're slightly recessed, but it's like command performance. You know, you have to actually formally invite people to come and sit on the porch. They know not hi is not, yes. Will you come and join me for an hour? It's a buffer. It's something pleasant, slows them down, and then you get to choose the ones you want to invite.
What are we doing in this little town of Hillsborough? But here we are.
So at the beginning of this particular summer, the summer everything changed, I started packing to head west on Highway 64 in search of a new job, new town, new Cuddy Mangum.
I have been graced by my marriage to Maureen. Editors come and go and publishing houses come and go, and she has been my constant reader.
She created herself young, mostly out of movies, and the belief that your script can come true if you keep on believing in it.
And she loves to, sometimes a little hard on me, you know, but I've learned just watch her face. If she winces, you want to change that word.
This everyone's going to recognize, oh, Cuddy's back.
And she's been very much a part of my work. A novel, when you write it, you send it out, and only when it reaches a reader, when they respond out of the world they come from, out of the feelings they have, out of the desires and the hopes and the renunciations of their lives, does that novel fulfill itself. That's the great hope for a creator of story. Wind was cold off the bright water of Albemarle Sound. That it won't be silenced by time. As I met the ocean, the sun blew up over the horizon line. That the characters will be there for a new generation of readers and will speak to them. Shafts of sea oats bowed shaking to a sandy highway that warned of the dangers of leaving it.